my name is Tanzila Ahmed, and I'd like to welcome you to RGD's webinar, Visual Thinking, Incorporating Drawings in Business Communications, presented by Willemien brand. Willemien has turned her passion for drawing and design into her life's work. She graduated with distinction from the prestigious Design Academy Eindhoven in Netherlands and enjoyed an award-winning career as an industrial designer with ATAG Kitchen Techniques before setting up the successful design studios Buro brand and brand business. The longer she worked in design, the clearer it became to Willemien that drawing and visual thinking are powerful tools that can break down complex problems, engaging employees and build bridges between business and their customers. Now she shares this passion with companies throughout the world as one of the leading figures in the visual communication revolution. Before we begin today, a few reminders. If you have questions, please submit them using the Questions tab in the webinar control panel. Also note that questions can take a while to come through the system and are more likely to be addressed if submitted during the presentation. Questions that come through will be collected and answered by Willemien at the end of the talk. We also invite you to interact with us on Twitter by tweeting during and after the broadcast using the hashtag RGDWeb. Welcome, Willemien, and thank you for coming. If you're ready, I will turn it over to you.
I'm ready, thank you. Thank you, Tanzila, for the nice introduction, and welcome to the people who are tuned in. I think it's your lunch break, and for me it's dinner time. I'm in Europe, in the Netherlands, speaking from. Well, welcome, let's start. Visual thinking is hot. We see with us a lot of walls full of epics, stories, tasks, all on colored post-its, and as is that the new, I don't know if it's new, but the agile way of working. And companies need speed and agility to adapt quickly and to changing circumstances nowadays. And Agile and Scrum, Lean or Startup, and Design Thinking are widespread examples of new methods that our clients have started using to change their way of working. And this way of working calls for new tools. So, oh wait, I'm doing my desktop now. Yeah, here. So that's why we wrote this book, The Visual Thinking and with Empowering People and Organizations Through Visual Collaboration. We want to give confidence to communicate visually and work more effectively. I'm very proud of this book because I did it with my team here at the Bureau, but also with two PwC consultants, free, I mean, and therefore it's not only about skills, but it is also about the business settings and how to use, how to collaborate visually together. To talk a bit about myself, yeah. For me, it's drawing is not a way of. It's not a hobby, but it's a way of living. Because by drawing, I always had a little bit of difficulty to study in high school, especially, and there I discovered by making these simple sketches, complex information would be parted into parts, or it would be more simplified. And that skill I'm now using and teaching it to all other persons in which I give workshops to or we collaborate with. So the importance of visual thinking. Well, I think that it has, visual collaboration has very much impact on teams and their effectiveness. Do you see my cursor? Yes, that's more easy. So I think as I explained earlier, for breaking down complex problems, or you can engage it on the work floor. So it can be for a team giving a boost for more innovation. You are more clear and to the point when you draw, because people are not using so much words anymore, and iterate onwards, but iterate on the global picture. Simplifies, of course. This is a very important one, unlocking creative power. I have had a seminar for 3 days, which I attended as a graphic recorder, and the way we had it was a PowerPoint-less seminar, so that was for these bankers, unusual. And I think the setting we made and created was for these bankers that I have never seen such creativity born. Like all these presentations at the end were with a lot of drawings and a lot of films, animated or iMovie made films. So it was really amazing, and the energy was also amazing. So I think a lot of fun. Also, I think that it's people. This is always a symbol I use. You know, the overlapping parts also have a different different pattern, and therefore you adopt each other's ideas very makkelijk. I said it's a Dutch word. Very simply. It empowers teams to build on another's ideas, I think, and innovate faster. Well, and the building part, don't forget. That's the next slide. Well, visual thinking talks about a topic on a very high and next level. Like there is the statement, if you don't develop your drawing and visualization skills, you will not unlock the full potential of the 75% neurons in your brain used to process visually. And that, I think we all know, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So that's very, very important in communication. As we always use this triangular, like, well, we are used to use the spoken words to communicate or have meetings. We are used to have the written text, like emails or PowerPoint with a lot of text. And as this new tool, we can communicate by drawn image, self-drawn image. And it can be as natural behavior as writing and speaking, then I think the world will be much nicer, less complex, and with less miscommunication. But a lot of people are saying, I don't dare to draw, I cannot draw. It's such a pity, because I think that it is very easy, and I will show you later the basic concepts. And now I realize that I'm talking to a lot of designers, and I think that designers are capable of visualizing. So me as a designer, I can draw very well. It was quite a challenge to make my drawings as simple as possible, like using only O's, U's, Z's, and all these basic forms. Because in business setting you don't have a lot of time to make a Picasso or something else very nice. So all these people who aren't accomplished to drawing, when they learn this basic tool, it will be perfect. It will work. So the book, this is the content page of my book, and I think chapter 2 is about skilling. We'll come to that later. Chapter 3 is about visual storytelling and templating, and how to use metaphors in communication. We'll come to that later too. And chapter 4, which I wrote with the PVC guys, is about visual collaboration techniques in separated different business settings. Okay. Draw, basic skills and guidelines. Can you give me 1 minute? I have to look for something. What is it? It's gone. Then we change to another panel, and that will be this one. Yeah. So, drawing, and I will give you quick tips now. Oh no, sorry, I'm a little bit confused with the different. Oh, go. That was me, by the way. Hello. Yeah, I need one. Well, since you are all designers, I figured that you really would want to know which pens are usually known. I don't know if you know the Neuland pens, like here. The Neuland pens are very, they are very smooth, and they are not bleeding into the paper. So your next paper is really blanco. And we are very fond of the chisel point. Like you can make thin and thick lines with this. And we usually say to people, use black chisel point, so you can make thin and thick lines, and use gray for the shadowing. Of course, is the Molotov. It's an acrylic painter, also very nice because you can make black squares, and then you can write with the white pen in it. It's really, really nice. So I use the app Sketches. You probably know it, and I use the iPad Pro now so you can see it. Okay, so the tips were using thin lines and thick lines. So when you are using thin lines and thick lines, then and also using, for example, a shadowing part, you can see there is already a sort of hierarchy in your drawing. The thick one is well, you see first, and the thin one is it's like an infographic, like that's a less important one. When I draw, I will start with some faces. So when I draw two persons together with only three dots, two stripes for the eyes and one smooth line for the mouth, by most people put them in the middle of your face, but by putting them aside, you can let them look in a way. So he's very proud and looking up, and he is very sad and looking down. And so doing that using the middle, you can change by that. So the middle is this, and I want to have a proud one. I put it very high in the head. When people are connected with each other and they are all talking about the same subject or sharing the same vision, I saving part was there. I use this text balloon very often with a sun in it, because that's they all have the same vision, and the sun on the horizon is a good thing for that. When I want to make a body part, I always use the U, but then turn around. And if you want to have some shadow, always put it on a person at the inside, or so. This is very effectively and very fast done. I will put it verbergen. Yeah, go to the new one. Yeah. Then there are some basic icons, which is of course, well, here is I will do the other one and the other thickness. I like that better. It's one person individually, and when you want to draw a whole team or a lot of persons, then you don't make them all separately, but try to make them at once with this nice curved line. Here you can do the same exercise with talking the same, or you can do they are talking together with the same thing, and here's on another level. So it's a little bit fat, but for example, when I make it thinner, he is a little bit angry and not joining the group and don't have the same discussion, and they are very happy together and talking about sunny days in the business. And by adding again, for example, by adding the shadow part, everything is you make everything a little bit more, giving it more depth, of course, and making it more enrich your drawing. So we have we have 4. This one. So we have individual, we have team, and we have also business. So business will be just 2 square, and the windows are with thin lines, drawn with thin lines with the gray, with a very symmetrical, because that's architecture is about. And when you have some, I didn't do it. The shadow is always on the overlapping side. That's better. Then we have, when it is, for example, ING, I put the logo on top, or the Nike logo. It's easier to draw, of course. And when it is going global, I put just this. I learned people to make this one because that's easier than draw the world. You know, that's sometimes it's something totally different for people. What's also nice is to draw personas. Well, that's more from, I want to draw a 38 girl. 38. Well, she has long hair, and she has black hair. And here's the U form again. I always use zigzag for the hands, and I can add some shadow parts if I want. But that's always a very nice way to draw, for example, your colleague. So girls are very easy, always the U, and then look at where the how do you call it? You know, where the hair is separately, like here and here. So, or then start there. And with a guy, I always draw the ears, because most of the time they have short hair, and it's a little bit thick, but thin. I use this one for the beard, which is here in Holland very trendy. I think in Toronto as well. Yeah, so with these basic icons you can do a lot, like for example, I put with the gray here. No, let me explain it differently. So I have a few people working here, I have a few people working here, and here are, well, suddenly it's gray. Here are a few people, and here as well. I'll take this. I put some islands around it, and with gray I can connect things as well as a dotted line or with a real line. But the beautiful thing is now that by putting a sort of pattern in it, I can tell my visual story. So I want to have all, it's for HR, for example, would be nice. I want to have all the IT people, which are, they have the magenta stripes, and I want them to put in, the new ING. So it's like connecting things with each other, and also trying to talk in, instead of making everything you say making a picture, you are also can making it with patterns or with colors. But our tip is not to use too many colors, though. I have a new one. I'll discard this one. Yep. Okay. What is also very nice is the changing arrow. So you make two curved lines, and at the end you make this line, this arrow point, and one of the sides is of course flipped, so there's shadow on the other side, and there will be one moment. In reality, I have this marker which with this sizzle point, and then I can do it without turning from the one brush to another brush digitally. Okay, this is changed, but how super it would be to combine things you have learned. So here are some people, and I want to have some change with my department. So on this that side, team change, or what shall we change with ourselves, or you can also do the basic icon of change for business change, and maybe you can use globally. I want to do that globally. Or what should it mean for all the people I have, you know? So you can combine these things into your drawings. Another nice thing is the header. I think you all know it already, because also hand lettering uses this a lot. It's a rectangle, and beneath it are two other rectangles, and we connect these points with each other, and with making the shadow part. But even these rectangles, for example, when I'm talking about team, be aware that when you put a title, put some space between each letter, because then it's more a title. Then you can put in here also a lot of things. Also combining is very, also the team globally with connecting, or we want to have some more ideas together, you know. What I was talking about titles. So when you want to make a nice title, it's always nice to draw in the outline letters. Title, yeah. And afterwards you can draw the banner. Oh. Yeah. So when you have a flip chart, you know them, of course. I will draw one. Then it's very nice to make in black, of course, but you can combine, when you want to talk with each other about team, draw this frame and use in the frame your team, or use in the frame business, and eventually you can also divide it and make a SWOT analysis, whatever you want, but use the matrix. And just the tip of using making this frame, just making a frame, it is every time in a different color of a different subject. That's already very inviting and giving people more awareness what's happening in the presentation or in the meeting. The last thing, I still have some room left here, is which is also very nice and you can combine, is for example leadership. So if this is the style of a leader, you know what I mean. I think I can draw faces now because it's a little bit not amused, and oh, it's too thick. Well, you know, these faces must be like this. That's one leadership, which isn't, of course, not the best at this moment. And how should you draw another one? So another one would be, I think, empowering your team. So I put on a tray a lot of team members which are all very happy. So that's nice. You don't even have to draw faces just by these hands. It's already okay. And the team leader or manager is, and now I can draw, is proud, very much proud. So even when you want to make extra lines or extra things, do it in gray, not everything into black. Okay, that's for so far. Is my one moment, I will get something. Then I'm going back to the presentation. Hi again. I prepared it so well, but I did forget that. Okay, the next one is Google Images is your friend, because when something is there like networking or compliance or sales, and how should I draw it? I always go to Google, and I will show you later, because I have a slide later when I show you how I do that. But here you see a lot of icons, and also in my book there's also a lot of how to draw. Let's see. You see, you recognize here, for example, which I draw with my networking, and here you see, for example, when you want to have a wow factor for the customers, instead of a team, you can draw your customers there. You want to empower them. This is also a very nice one. It's about multiple horizons. Let me see. It's 1/2 now, so I have to almost. I think I need some more 10 minutes, and then I want really to answer your questions. Well, this is also very nice every time for a kickoff, a startup. Right. So when I'm looking for a word and I'm trying, I cannot really think of an image, or I have too much images in my head. I go to Google Images and I put a word in the finding square. I don't know how to call it in English. Plus, and I add icon or I add factor, because then I skip all these photographs and I get the Line project. I get the really factorized or very simple things. Well, for example, I can show you how the nounproject.com. So I'm looking for sales, for example, and then you see there. Well, I really like this one, and I heard there are several more, I know, but this is I always combine things. So maybe sales with one of these persons, or it's very nice. It's a great tip. Yeah. Okay, visual storytelling. So when you have the skills, and I assume you all have, because you're all designers. Are you? Maybe you can say it to me. It would be nice. We got we're all looking for your customers. Maybe you're all maybe as you can make infographics. You know which visual language you can use to make information less complex. But a lot of people wrote a book for, of course, is all accustomed to making schedules or comparison, contrast, or difference into wait, have a look into your Excel or PowerPoint. And we know all to make in Excel PowerPoint diagrams from complex information issues, and the first part is the schematic, abstract, and logical part. So that's applying to everyone's head, but well, what you really want to do is touch the heart, and that can be with metaphors, and people will be engaged, especially when you make this sort of vision stories, or with steps from A to B to lead to the super happy customer. This one is difference of comparison, what keeps us high and what stays low, what keeps us down, and what lifts us up. This be a very nice one too, for let people fill it in by themselves. And well, so we're going now by, where is my, here, my notes. Well, for us, visual thinking is not, and templating, it's not a template exercise, like there is an existing template and you can put it. No, I really want people to use their own thinking and creativity and style. That makes it more authentic and you really touch their heart. So in short, we learn people how to make impactful drawings in business settings. So how to use the power of visual brainstorming by making an individual idea grow out to a joint solution. So that's far as for my notes. Which way do your arms or body automatically move while telling your story? Because keep this in mind when you're choosing a design plan. So a poster like A is from top to down, or from bottom to top. And when you want to have steps, then it's some. And when you are pointing to the left very high above, then it's maybe a sort of roadmap, And then therefore we thought about a few templates, but it are templates, but it's only the sketch, and you have to fill it in by yourselves. Even kijken. So there is plenty of options. Use your own imagination, and also use a visual vocabulary to build up the story. Well, we think there are two. How do you call it? There are two sorts of trying to to connect with people. One is when you're drawing, you can make a presentation template, like a vision roadmap. You tell the big picture. You can you give people direction, but on the other hand, you can use one of these visual vocabulary items, for example, a roadblock, and put this roadblock on a new sheet of paper, and then try to collect all the inputs from the persons at the meeting, from what do they mean and what is the roadblock, and how can we have to discuss around this, and we call it an action template. Here are a few presentation templates. I already told you about the what lifts us up and what keeps us down. It's the most very nice to divide it and get sticky notes on the top or at the bottom. And on the right is the roadmap with stepping stones, or how do you call it, parts A, B, C, to come to a very happy customer at the end with the challenge flag. As you can see here, the roadmap is on the left. On the right, there is in the top, I can use this one, is the activation. So here is the roadblock. So put this one with the frame again on a new sheet of paper and try to collect all the issues around it, or just forgetting the visions or making a map. You know, they're all metaphors are now. You can use it. And this is the plan, which you only have to know. Another example is the iceberg, which is also have a look at it, because I'm running out of time, so I have to just give a glance. Visual thinking in business settings. Well, this is well, the most interesting chapter, I think, because I think visual thinking increases the thinking ability of teams, and it unlocks the creative power. The teams have more fun, they innovate. Let me look, where are my notes? Oh, no notes. I will do it without notes. So I think that I have 9 business settings. We have generated 9. And I think, for example, you have goal setting with this strategic planning. You can, it's really for shaping your vision, for example, looking for purpose, like the visionary templates. And I think it engages people very much, and they remind also when it is hanging at the wall, it reminds people of it, and also it's inviting for the discussion. And then we have information sharing with you know, the Kanban boards, or the sticky notes doing done, which is also very good to see progress, and also having tasks visible from everyone. Decision making also very nice, because you have the comparing options. You can make that's also with problem solving, a war room where you can have all the information, and then you can make this decision easily. Exploring markets, also very nice, because visual collaboration techniques will also maybe be very familiar to you, but like customer journeys and making the personas and trying to visualize these is like a passport or something. It would be very, very nice. Idea generating is more about ideating, and problem solving is also a very, this is, I think, the most important one, like continuous improvement. I think it's very actual. Prototyping by experimenting, team building and coaching, also having fun with each other, or the hidden things within a team the unsaid things will be visible again. So this is an example of using for shaping your vision. You can let people think about new ideas. What do you think or what do you feel about the subject? And also be for idea generating, you can use it. Or you can use the metaphor of a tree, which has A, B, and C. These are the big pillars of this company. And strategic pillars, for example, the vision is always the sun, of course. When it rains, there's that's what he really needs, of course, to grow. And resources are the the English word I don't know, bottles. We call it carrots. I don't think it's the same. And the apples are maybe the benefits. It would be nice to draw, for example, a banana, because are we working on the right things? You know, we should work on the banana. So one of the pillars you can draw like that, and you can make a matrix underneath this with smart, or you can make the risks or the issues. You can draw a board of that too. This is for also decision making or well, comparing. You see one of the pictures we already learned people, and ways to compare are always very nice because you can do it very visually, as you see. This one is nice, and this is for how many people are there, of course. The personas, I already draw as example, which I'm always trying to make nice names like middle-aged Mike, and I'm always putting his age in the stomach. It's easier. This is a passport. So middle-aged Mike, you know, of the frame. He's part of the frame, and then you can draw with nice old school handwriting. A big quote, a collage. You can use a collage, or you can draw him like a passport. And the customer journey, well, because of the time, I will be very shortly, but I think the pain points and the love points will be visible, and from the pain points you can make new opportunities, of course. And this is an orientation of, here's the people are orientating at the table and chatting with friends, and then he's going to look for it. He's buying it online, and the shipment is gone. And well, at the shipment there is no, how do you call it, feedback by mail, where no track and trace. So that's a pain point, and it's also an opportunity, of course. How great would it be to make a big war room in your organization or for your client, where you all can draw this and people are invited, this is for problem solving zone, the different solutions, the cause and effect zone, problem statement with the context, the success criteria, the solution space, stakeholders, etc., etc. Okay, this is nice for you yeah, okay. This is also nice for you eventually to fill in, but unfortunately we can only do it by chatting. But are we good? Fine. Well, I hope I have planted the seed of a new visual thinker in you. I'm really excited about this topic. I really want to engage and empower people very much with these skills and this way of open up other people. The more you practice, really, the better you get. I will dare to practice for a wider. You will dare to practice for a wider audience and more confidently. And members of your team will follow your lead and start picking up pens and pencils as they experience the power of visualizing ideas. I really am sure of that. So in some companies we've worked with, people have formed visual thinking communities or guilds, and the ball is running. So keep it up, and thank you really very much for listening. And I hand over to Tanzila.
Thank you, Willemien. We do have some questions for you. Questions can still be submitted using the Questions tab in the Webinar Control panel. Willemien, the first question we have for you is, how do you find the time to incorporate drawing into your daily business schedule?
Well, I work also with the iPad Pro, and so I work a lot, and with the Adobe Suite, of course. So I work visually also with these skills. But I think every time, which is very nice to do, in a big tip, is when, for example, you have an intake meeting. My partner, Robert Paulus, he's always I'm a creative, so I'm not so very structured, but he is very structured, and he's asking, let's this client talk, and I'm drawing. And when I'm drawing, suddenly there appears the big question, and it's not always the question the client is telling, but it's beneath their question is the real question. And when you're drawing, so suddenly into this meeting, I'm saying, can I add something? And I turn over my drawing and I say, I see that you're telling this, but you're maybe, probably, or I think you do, asked this, or the big picture I see is this. And by drawing, it's for yourself very easily. It goes like automatically. You only have to dare to start drawing while they are talking, and it has a really great impact, because then the client is pointing at some things on my drawing, and the iteration process is going very fast.
Do you have any more resources you can recommend to someone who wants to learn more about building habit forming products?
Well, that's why I wrote a book, because I thought there were a lot of books, but there were not enough visuals in it. But I think that Dan Rome, with the back of the napkin, he is a really good one. And I like very much also the Bicablo. That's really, do you know this? It's from Neuland itself, and they have only pictures, examples of pictures in it. And I like also the visual metaphors of Dario Paniagua. So yeah, I think books will be a great inspiration, and I think just practicing and doing will be very, very good.
I'd like to thank Willemien for taking the time to present this content to us today and answering our questions. We really appreciate it, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh, we had the webcam going. Oh yeah, no, it's not a problem. Okay, yeah.
Well, before we sign off, a quick reminder that RGD organizes regular free virtual events for our members. On September 21st, Lee Dale will present a webinar on System Strategy, the essential framework for driving customer experience and organizational effectiveness. And on September 29th, RGD will host a live screening and interactive discussion of the future of brand, RGD's next Future by Design panel. Panelists include Robin Honey, Julia Beardwood, Ian Grace, and Todd Simmons. So visit rgd.ca for a full list of upcoming webinars and other events. This concludes today's webinar. Thank you all for your participation.
Thank you.